What If is the MCU's first animated series. How does it fare? Let's take a look. Episode 1. What if Peggy Carter became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers? The animation here is great. You can see some hints of Disney here and there, but for the most part it stands out on its own, with a mix of 2D and 3D that blends very well together. The characters have great facial movement that show their emotions. There's great voice acting. It's always good to see some of the previous actors come back to their role, such as Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter and Sebastian Stan as Bucky. Steve Rogers has a different voice actor, but I think he did a good job. It didn't feel out of place. There's a lot of great action in here. There's some good character moments, such as when Peggy is drinking with Steve, and even though he's still the skinny guy from Brooklyn, she likes him for who he is. Speaking of Steve, I actually half expected him to become the Winter Soldier after that train blew up. My main problem with this was that I hoped it would be longer. I get that the What If comics aren't long stories and they're one-offs, but personally I wish it could be more than 30 minutes. The ending was quite predictable, but overall it left me satisfied. I give this a 7 out of 10. Episode 2. What if T'Challa became Star-Lord? As this was Chadwick Boseman's last performance as Black Panther, it's really hard to criticize it without feeling bad, but I have to be honest, I didn't enjoy this episode. Not his fault though, he gave a great performance. It just felt like this episode tried too hard to be funny, and that a lot of comedic moments ruined the scene for me. I wasn't really engaged with any of the characters besides T'Challa. I didn't feel any real stakes. There were some cool Easter eggs here and there with returning characters like Howard the Duck and Thanos, but unfortunately for me, overall, this episode was just a case of great performance in a lackluster episode. 5 out of 10. Episode 3. What if the Avengers had died? This was quite an unexpected one for me, mostly because they actually killed the characters. Before Endgame, there were a lot of characters that appeared to die, but ended up surviving. So much so that you didn't feel like there were any real stakes. Now granted, this episode is a one-off, but it was still bold of them to be willing to kill as many characters. Samuel Jackson is a great lead with Nick Fury, and I appreciated the Black Widow detective work. It gave me more of a mystery, thrilling aspect that I wish the Black Widow movie had. It was also cool to see Nick Fury in action, although it turns out that it's actually Loki. The reveal was kind of meh for me, but in the end it made sense because Hank Pym is a very intelligent person. Again though, I felt like it was too short and could have been a bit longer. 7 out of 10. In terms of animation, DC has always been ahead of Marvel in that department. But so far, this has been a huge win for Marvel. Even though not all the episodes landed for me story-wise, the animation is still top-notch. Well, those were my thoughts. What were yours? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you next time.